Thank God that they purged every single account, because the shit I used to post, bro, that's way too much damage control. I'm a 200-pound, 6-foot Mexican who can move fucking mountains. I can tell you from like offerings that I've had and what they are, right? So like a wizard trees is an objective.
I want to ask you a little bit about like your journey. You know, you've been growing. I think I've seen you say you've been growing for like 15 years or so, or more than that.
Yeah, I want to say like 2011 is probably the first time. Like that was the first day from of the beginning till it's not the end, but you know it's continuing. That was the beginning, 100%.
And then you have probably been building your like brand and Instagram page for like a decade now.
Yeah, I want to say like 16, you know, around there. Maybe I hopped on Instagram and started being vocal about the Masonic Smoker Instagram handle, you know.
And like, what made you start that? Like, was it just like a hobby, just having fun, or were you actually trying to sell seeds and start a business?
No, it was just a hobby, brother. I was just growing pot, you know, looking for other like-minded people to share the process with, and I found Instagram, and it turns out there was a big old freaking community there, and it, you know, it just helped me grow as a you know, grower. I got to take a lot of muse from a lot of the killers out there and take all the styles that I liked and apply them to my get down, and here we are now, man. It started as a hobby. I didn't know, oh, you know, come brand on Instagram, or I didn't even know seeds were for sale. I didn't know there was like seed banks and breeders. I didn't know there was, completely oblivious. I was just pumping out bag seeds, doing clones. Never was I like, oh, let me go on the internet and like see what all this is about. Not really. Like the most I dove in was like the George Cervantes Grow Bible and like kind of learn like remedial techniques to get from point A to Z. But all in all, like I wasn't into the who's, the forums, or, you know, seed banks, none of that, dude. I was like just me, you know, just doing me, trying to grow as much as I could. I was familiar with high quality medical weed, so that helped me aim for something and not just kind of be lost like amongst like nothing, you know. So every time I'm growing, there's something to aim for, and that would be like the trenches I was consuming in. That'd be like the shatter I was smoking, the hardcore OG, all the OGs, all the types of medical weed. So I wasn't like just like, there was something to aim for when I was growing, and that was kind of my teacher, was just like being, you know, involved in the scene as opposed to like, you know, learning from all these guys and people. But yeah, didn't know nothing. Didn't know, seeds cost $100. Didn't know none of that shit. No, fuck no.
Did you have any people like around you who were doing it too, that kind of got you into it, like seed making or, you know, just cannabis in general? Like, how did that even start for you?
Nah, bro. Just me being a pothead growing up. 9th grade, smoking pot every day. Somewhere around high school graduation, my dad is like, all right, you're like a stoner. Here's like a pound of weed. And I didn't necessarily re-up on that. And I kind of dropped the ball, you know, and I had to figure out how to get that back. So I just started growing weed. Like, just no one there to be like, there was like, my dad would have people in his circle would be like, hey, meet Ray. Ray has a grow. These are the ins and outs, you know, his technique. And that's it. It wasn't like, oh, you know, pick the phone up and just no, it was literally like, hope you remember this. It's literally, and it wasn't much either, you know, respectfully. It's just like, here's, you know, this remedial technique, you know. It was more so like, you can do it because he can do it. And that's it, you know. And it's okay because, and showing to me as my parents, like, oh, it's okay to us now because he does it, you could do it, and that's it. Like that was it. It was just like, oh, okay, we're accepting to it now. But all in all, like, nah, no one. I don't have no no seed homie that put me on game to the process. I kind of just learned from the way people mingle on Instagram and, just kind of talking and the circles I came up in, they would be like, oh, like, you got to choose more like a marketing type of way too, but also like a way of line working and just what's expected and the bandwidth that people can handle, period. Like if I tell you 100 things, you're gonna be like, what do I get? If I tell you one thing, it's like, oh yeah, that's the one, But all in all, like, there were people that helped me get to where I'm at. Like Harry Palms was the very first person that gave me seeds in like 2016. And then Oni, I like, decided to travel the world with him and I learned stuff from him. And, just those are like important things that helped me get to where I'm at. So I don't want to say it was just me, but Lord knows, like, I kind of, I didn't have the OG grower that could like show me his formula to get it cracking. And I think that's what differentiates me from everybody, that I didn't have that. And I kind of just did my own thing and being oblivious to the who's and grow styles and all that kind of led to my own style. I feel like Bruce Lee, like I took all the good from all the cool styles and I just made my own. Lord knows I would like to be better in a lot of things that I lack in, but I'm well aware of what I am,
For sure. You got a really cool style, just how you grow in your backyard and kind of have an outdoor setup and, do the KNF and all that. I want to ask you a little bit about that, but yeah, that's cool. So you didn't have anyone who like actually put you on in the early days, but once you actually got started, you kind of met some people who, helped you out and kind of helped show you the way. But what was it like in Compton? Was there like just a ton of people smoking around you and that's really what, got you into it?
Yeah. So I live in Compton. I've been living here since like I was like 18. I grew up in like South Central Watts, California, which is just one city over. And it's like predominantly black neighborhood, blue collar, kind of, some might call it the ghetto, it's kind of, like, it's kind of like that. So Lord knows weed is something that's out here. I remember just being a kid, like you would smell it in the air, you'd see zigzag papers on the floor, so it was subconsciously, whatever, however you say it, it was embedded in me as a kid, like the smoke. I remember just being like a child and I would smell that skunky aroma and I'd be like I would acknowledge it. I'd be like, yo, like, what the fuck is that type shit? And as I got older, it's like, oh, like that's weed, So we grew up around weed like that. And, yeah, I mean, what's the question? How's weed growing up in Compton? Like,
is it just like all around you? Everyone's smoking. Everyone's smoking.
No, everyone's not smoking. Like when you were growing up, I graduated high school in 2010, so I was like I was being a high school weed stoner. That's like the prime, right? When everyone kind of like molds themselves with weed. I hope so. If your parents love you enough, or they don't got you smoking in fucking elementary and middle school, but in high school, it's like. Yeah, there's stoners and shit, but like in the hood, I was like the biggest stoner, like unapologetically, like made my parents, fucking stress out. Not too much, but a little bit because of it, because I would never stop. I was never gonna stop. But yeah, in South Central LA, there was stress weed that you could go buy from the local, freaking dude that sold it. And there was OG Kush, and there was always medical dispensaries that if you got into it enough, you'd find a big homie to go get it for you and smoke it with you. Or if not, you would just go find the street dealer who sold, grams for 20, eights for 50, stress bags stuffed to the brim for $5. That's like brickweed, with seeds in it. But it was normal. It was like, it wasn't like a too taboo because it was kind of normal, and then as it started getting legalized, it just became more normal, and it's just in your face. But I, it's not everybody smokes weed. You know, there's people that are square. You know, they're like, you know, they just want to go to college and be you know, have an identity amongst us people. But there's people that like to party, you know, and weed is like to party, you know. But I wouldn't say weed is, they're smoking weed because they want to be stoners. They're smoking weed because they like to party, you know, or maybe because they like to chill, you know. Yeah. I was smoking weed like religiously, like the day revolved around it type shit. They smoke weed as the day revolves around, I don't know, something else, right? And then weed's a part of it, right? No, the weed was the main goal every day with me growing up. So, but not everyone's like that, right? And that's fine because, you know, fucking, I'm a crazy person, bro, and that's totally fucking fine, you know? Because even amongst my friends that I grew up with, and we all love weed, and maybe one of us or two of us got into growing, we couldn't stick to it, you know? Some of them are like, oh, you know, life and this and that, and I'm just like, whatever happens, I'm gonna do it, you know. It don't matter, you know. And Lord knows I had 3 kids to this day and everything, and I still stuck to it. No matter if I was living in an apartment with a balcony, I'd have a plant there. If I was, you know, whatever the case may be, I always made sure to have some physical, tangible plants that I could call my own and just, you know, live that identity that I wanted to become so much, not and unknowingly, right? Like it just, this is what I want to grow a plant. I want to, you know, this, I love this, you know, but
just like an obsession.
Yeah, growing up for sure, weed was around me, and I got early access to medical dispensaries because they were around me, and I made friends with people that smoked, and I involved myself in those circles. And imagine if you're an adult with children now, like, my son doesn't watch these things or anything, but like imagine your 15-year-old son hanging out in some random person's house just because he wants to smoke weed. I was that guy. It's all bad, you know, but my son, and now with the way it's easier to access stuff and the vape pens and all this, it's that barrier is kind of like, you know, you don't end up in those situations anymore as much, I hope, right? You know, so just my thought process. It was a little bit shadier trying to acquire pot on my come up, and Lord knows prior to my come up, even harder, you know. So yeah, man,
for sure. Yeah, I always like to ask about that because everyone kind of has a different like perspective. You know, I'm from a small town in Illinois, so it's like, you know, weed's there. I started smoking every day, like, you know, you said whenever you started smoking. I jumped in it like as soon as I started around like 15 and just loved it. And, you know, it was always kind of hard to get it and whatnot, but yeah, everyone's kind of got a different like introduction to it. And, I always like to kind of, you know, see what that was like for you. But yeah, it seems like from the outside looking in that like Compton's like way more, or just Southern California is just like way more, you know, in the culture. So I don't know, you know, what that looked like for you. But you kind of mentioned, you know, how you first started popping seeds. And like you said, you know, Harry Palms gave you some seeds. And, you know, you also started working with Oni. I know that was kind of like the start of Wilson. I wanted to ask you about that. Kind of talk to me about like that story, because I know Wilson is kind of like the biggest strain you've ever created or found. Talk to me about that.
Yeah, so Harry Palms reached out one time, and I was just oblivious to the game, right? And I'm looking at his page, and dude posts fire weed, and I'm like, damn, this fool looks like he's got it figured out, or he's, you know, he's popping. I think he had a big following too at the time. And I don't know nobody, bro. I don't know nobody. I'm just doing me. I'm posting my plants in the backyard. I'm motherfucking people that I'm just being a kid, bro. Just being cringe. And Harry's like, oh, you know, here's some seeds. I think I was fighting with somebody at the time, and he's like, you know, kind of like, hey man, fuck those guys. Here's some seeds, you know, throwing a dog a bone. And he sent me some seeds. He sent me like Fire OG, White OG, GG4, and Tropicana all crossed into one of his first lines that he did. It was a cherry pie tangy line. So it was all that crossed into cherry pie tangy. So I had Tropicana cherry pie tangy, Fire OG cherry pie tangy, GG4 cherry pie tangy, White OG cherry pie tangy, and a couple other ones. Wookiee cherry pie tangy. He gave me and he gave me like some old school Canorado gear. It was like a Kool-Aid Kush pack, and it was like, you know, I remember all this shit. It was like 10 years ago. So he gave me all this shit, and at the time, I'm still growing for production. I'm making shatter. I'm growing big outdoor plants. I'm Korean natural farming. This is 10 fucking years ago. I'm trimming them up, making the bags look nice, making the buds look nice, growing them out, selling them on the streets, you know, to the dispensaries because it was still in those times. And so I wasn't breeding. That wasn't even like, I don't even know that a male and a female together I don't know none of this shit. All I know is kill the males, grow the plants big, dry the plants, trim the plants, blast some of the stuff, package some of the stuff, sell it, smoke it, save money, get money. That's what I knew, you know? I didn't know breeding and the male and the female and a Oni and a Swamp Boys and a Capulator and an exotic, a DNA, a Crockett, nothing, brother.
Really?
Absolutely zero about anyone, dude. I don't know about Icy Mag. I don't know Burner. I don't know nobody, bro. All I know is medical OG fucking scene. That's all I know, big dog. Go to the shop, how to get the best deal. $50 a gram for shatter, $50 for 5 grams of some OG. That's as good as it gets. That's the bar, you know, and trying to grow plants to taste like that. That's what I'm aiming for. And that's where genetics come in, because that was so hard for me. Literally shooting in the dark, like, bing, maybe this one tastes like OG. Bing, maybe, you know, like, because I'm growing back. I don't know nothing. I just know passion and how to do the labor, because I got, you know, I'm a hard worker, and how, you know, gutso, because I'm like being kind of bold about it during that time, and just blowing up the yard. That's all I know. So I meet Harry, and he gives me these cherry pie tangy varieties. And at the time, I'm still growing for production. I make a post because I noticed that Burner and Ivan, they did like this collaborative effort called Exotics, and one of the varieties that they were promoting was from the same seed stock that Harry Palms gave me, and it was the Tropicana Cherry Pie Tangy, and they were calling it Tropic Thunder. I think they were calling their pheno that, or Harry had named the seed stock Tropic Thunder. Either way, I was just like cringe and stoked that I was doing the same thing they were doing. Because we got the, you know, like, oh, we got both. Oh, I'm going, hey, yo, Jungle Boys, they're the best. And I just happen to have the same thing they have. Whoa. And it was during a time where genetics were more respected. You know, they put a little bit more respect. And people were like, yeah, you do. I guess you do, huh, bud? And I had my following because I'm making a name for myself. I got eyes on me, you know. And I'm like, I found a Mel in there. And I posted online, and I was like, yo, who wants this Mel? I'm still not even like, it hasn't even clicked yet, you know? Somebody reaches out, hey, I'll take the Mel. I'm still doing my thing. Fucking whatever. Just, I have a job, you know? Like, I work at Rite Aid or some shit during the time. So I'm like, you know, life's life. I made an identity for myself. But I happen to love growing weed, and I do it on Suck. And, whatever, homeboy comes back with the seed stock of the Mel that I provided, you know, and it was Agent Orange and Plushberry, some old TGA seed stock crossed into that Tropicana Cherry Pie Tangy. And I'm very like, I'm like a vlog Instagram cannabis guy at the time. So every time anything fucking happens, people see it and they start inquiring. And I'm like, holy shit, motherfuckers want this shit. Like, and you know, $40 here, $40 there. Dude, I'm working for fucking $25 an hour or some shit, you know what I mean? And I'm in LA, so if you guys are like, whoa, that's no, dude, I'm in LA. So you know, me being who I am, I'm like, yo, like, you motherfuckers like this shit. Boom, start packaging it, make it look nice, you know, kind of just establish myself as a seed person, right? Like, I'm like, oh, and then people start to see that, and you know, it's sold, you know, fucking all that sold. So I'm like, yo, I need to make some seeds myself, not just provide the mail. I need it, like, on my next bust, instead of growing a bunch of pot, we're just going to grow a little bit, or we're just going to grow to pollinate, right? So around that time, I had an indoor, and I was cranking out, like, Gavita, 2 Gavitas. I had, like, the fabric bed. I had, like, filled it up, and I had my Harry Pons like, you should monocrop, get some cool clones. The other homie's like, yeah, you should monocrop. And I'm, like, being hard-headed. I had these, like, abusive OG bag seeds, Blackwater OG bag seed, and, like, Black Lime Reserve Orange Cookie SFV from my homie Paris, growing in the backyard, or indoor and under the T5 that I had too, or some shit. And I'm like, let's just grow these. Whatever. We fill in the beds. Keep in mind, it's like my first grow ever, right? I'm not listening to nobody, bro. It's my grow, though. It's my money. It's my everything. They're just helping me, and they're getting, you know, compensated for their time, you know. So the homie tried to talk me into it. I say no. I grow these KNF indoor beds. I'm vocal about it. I'm telling everybody. I'm telling Coma. I'm telling Cali Outdoor. All the mean guys at the time. Fuck you. I'm Mace. Indoor KNF. Suck my dick. You guys are mids. That's everyone's mids. Ah, I got KNF. Like, just gross, you know. But it was true. I had an indoor. It was KNF. I was very, very much ahead of the curve, you know, ahead of the pack with the way I was just kind of nasty about it. I know I was, you know. I was 24 or something. I'm 33 now, and I was, like, pumping out really nice, naturally grown indoor bud, right? So Harry Palms is watching, Oni's watching, and I pull up to, I think it was, like, Chalice, with, like, 2 5-gallon Home Depot buckets full of freshly trimmed Korean Natural Farm indoor Compton grown bud by yours truly, right? So I pull up to the Oni booth, and I just remember Oni, like, grabbing handfuls out both buckets. I'm like, whatever, dude, you know, like, I guess, you know. And Harry kind of, like, goes around the corner, grabs me 5 packs of seeds and just gives them to me. And it was the you know, some of the original papaya fems. It was like a Dosi, Banana OG, 3 Chem, and Purple Punch, all papaya hybrids. And he gave me the Tropicana F2. So I got all those, took them home, and that's how Wilson was made. It wasn't because, like, anything else. Like, it was all because, like, deservingly, you know, like, oh. And then at the time, like, I was, like, memeing already. I grew up browsing 4chan. I'm not proud of it, you know, like, kind of like, I was more on the comics and cartoons type of thing, you know, and there used to be, like, some funny stuff, you know, that isn't probably politically correct anymore. But all in all, like, I took a lot of that style of just, like, trolling and making a meme to get my message across to people, some highbrow stuff, whatever, you know. And I was ahead of it, so I would, like, campaign the papaya and the Oni faction via memes very early on in the Instagram development of the cannabis community. So, like, people looked at me like I knew something special. At the time, I'm just being me. I didn't know. Nowadays, like, people get hired to do this. I don't know about it anymore, but, like, it is, oh, look at my views, you know, type of vibe, you know? And I still do get a lot of views, but I still don't look at myself as that guy, you know? Like, I'll get 1 million views on a page with 3,000 followers, you know what I mean? And I see people, they're like, oh, I get views. And it's like, bro, like, but do you have substance and like actual product? Because we live in the age of data and internet, and that might hold more weight than actual gold bar. So I don't know, you know, where we're at. So, but I still respect the gold bar more. So I kind of focus on that more than like, check out my views. You know what I mean? So
For sure.
I've always been that guy. Yeah, and that's how Wilson was made, organically. Like from being a grower and vibing with the team and being a team player, 100%.
That's really dope. That's a dope story. Because it's a cool strain, and you've made waves with it and done a lot of cool things with it, and I just always like hearing the story behind strains, and it seems like it just happened very organically. I mean, the next question was how did it get traction, and how did you kind of get traction? But it was really just you like talking shit online and doing your thing. I remember those days too, like the OG Instagram days. Like you brought up like Cali Outdoor. I remember him always talking shit and like doing his thing, and it was cool to see. And like the thing you said about the views, I mean, I am a video guy, so like that is kind of what I do. But yeah, you're totally right. Like I talk about views and I'm like, yeah, it's cool, but like if you don't have substance, if you don't have like a product, if you're not actually like growing or whatever you're doing, like it's all kind of for nothing. That's why I like to like partner with good people and just try to help them. But yeah, like it's a game, man. Like there's a lot to it. Social media, and like I've always thought you were really good at it.
I meant it more so like it does matter, but I was doing all that recklessly. Like I have a 50,000 page account early on where now that's for sale, right? Like, oh, I have 50,000 followers. Help me help you. Let's get some promo going together and give me money and let's make money, right? Whereas I just did that till maybe, recently, even at Fairfax, when I had my store, I didn't know how to mold that fucking, all that energy, all those views. Dude, the Patreon was cracking and I'm just like, man, like, dude, oh my God, like talk about dropping the ball. You know what I mean? Like, but don't get me wrong. Like I still have a strong foundation and an organic following and I know how to work for it to get it again. But boy, oh boy, like that's been happening for a long time. And like it's cliche, like they didn't read, there's no book for this, and I didn't have a manager and nobody to show me from here to then, nothing. So it's like respectfully. And now that like if I take on the role of a media content guy, the Vlads and the whatever, all these types of people that come on my algorithm, now we have like the first smokes and then the proper doinks guys, like the pizza homie, they do, it goes from there, it goes all the way to Hash Church and like the Future Cannabis. Like there's so many platforms. Oh, there's Dope as Yola, and then it goes like Drink Champs. Like it gets crazy, right? There's like money on the table. That sounds kind of nasty to say, like when you're a community guy like me, like whoa, but there's money on the table and it helps the brand build. And as long as you do it ethically, whatever, like we're just trying to feed the family, bro. Right? Like I wish I would have molded that quicker and paid attention to it better, because it's like working smarter, not harder. Right? But if I would have molded that too quickly, I would not have all the knowledge that I learned in the trenches, because that's who I identify as. I don't identify as the guy that helps platform other people. But now that I do platform other people, I have more insight because I was in the trench when I do talk to people that are like me. But everything happens for a reason. All that to say, and the fact that I do, embrace that role as well. And I'm working on it to be honest, but I don't want to talk about too much. But we are working on making this type of situation more consistent for my people, let alone everyone. We want to break that barrier and just be like, holy shit, like it's secret boss, or this guy has good insight, yada yada, consistently, easy on the eyes, easy on the ears, and very much aware of it, and no, I don't want to feel like, your service is anything less of, because dude, it's media, dude. What do we do all fucking day? YouTube and shit. So run it up, brother.
Yeah, it's like I definitely identify as one of those guys because, like, that's what my skill is, like video and content and stuff like that. But, like, I do recognize also that, like, you know, it's better to be actually doing the thing. It's better to be actually known as, like, doing the thing and, like, making cool shit. And, you know, that's kind of what you're doing. But, you know, like I said, like, or like you said, like, my whole thing is I just want to, like, help platform people, help them, you know, grow their brand and kind of following and try to connect with consumers. But, you know, I'm just trying to help them, you know, get supported, I guess. But, dude, you're the goat of content. Like, you really are. Like, when it comes to how you do it, like, you just throw posts out and, like, bro, that's what the game is nowadays, especially on, like, TikTok and stuff. Like, that's what everyone's doing. But you've kind of been doing it on IG for, like, fucking 8 years now at this point, just posting whatever, talking about whatever. And yeah, bro, you've built, like, a huge audience because of that. I think when I first started following you, you had like 150,000 followers and it got deleted. Is that right?
Nah, bro. It was probably like when I lived in Long Beach in like 2018 is when I first got my first page deleted. And I was there for like 6 months. We had lived in this really nice apartment, and it was one of the better periods in my life living next to the ocean. You know, you could just feel the breeze. But I want to say like in 2018, I was like 50 going on to 60, which was a lot, you know, then because that was 8 years ago. But to be honest, bro, thank God they purged every single account, because the shit I used to post, bro, that's way too much damage control, to the point where if they did decide to like bloop, 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 all the pages popped up, I'd be in for it, bro. Like, people would be like, can you believe this shit? And I'd be like, you know, I was a kid, you know, like, but, you know, they did me a favor, bro, by purging every single thing post, you know, sober Mace, you know, fucking pre-sober Mace. That shit was all bad, bro. But yeah, bro, I was high up there, and I would go live and 100 people would pop up like that, and it was more so like I don't know. I guess a lot of people could relate to that more. You know, I don't fucking know, bro. It was like watching a plane crash. You know, like, oh, it's like I shouldn't be watching this, but I can't look away though, type of situation. I don't know. A lot of passion. You know, a lot of passion. A lot of you know, people like it when you call it like it is, and I necessarily felt very. I didn't have as much as I have now, so I was not that I was quick to lose that by like saying stuff, and I'm very careful what I have to say, right? Because they take your page, they stop your flight to Berlin, whatever the case, right? Like,
oh my,
you know what I'm saying?
I've heard about that.
So I don't know, dude. I'm just, to be honest, I don't know nothing. I just know it happened to me. And I can't say, I don't want to insinuate that it was anybody, because I have no proof. I just know it happened to me, and I know I just don't want to make nobody mad. You know, I don't want to tell it like it is all the time. You know what I mean? So that helped get me to where I'm at. The young Mace helped me get to where I'm at, but very cringe. Very cringe, you know. I don't say a lot of the things I used to say. Not that I don't believe in it, I just don't say. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, sure, bro. It's just it's been a come up.
Hey man, that's kind of part of it, you know. In the early days, like, bro, you're just gonna post a lot of cringe shit. Like, I post a lot of cringe shit online, but I've just stopped giving a fuck, you know. And I'm sure you feel the same way about the shit that you used to post.
Yep. Yeah, I think Gary Vee or somebody said it. They're like, when you know, when you're posting content on your page, you're not fucking. You're not at the Griffith Observatory and you're fucking Vincent Van Gogh and you're thinking of this masterpiece to like make your perception whoever you're trying to be. Like, you're just posting, like, just post. Like, tomorrow's tomorrow. The way algorithm is, it won't even show it. So just post, right? Like, you're not, who do you think you are, basically, right? Yeah, that's how I look at the post, and it's like, content's content, you know. And And there's ways to drive it, like, but I just, all organic, somebody else said, made a post and they're like, oh, when someone is making a post and you think they're like flexing or something, they're more than likely they're making that post because they're just really happy in that moment and they wanted to share it with the world, and then another thing is like, this isn't your fucking, like if you're a public page, right? Or let alone if you have a social media account, right? This isn't a private journal. This is a public thing. So post something. You know what I mean? Like, what do you like? Is this your diary where you make posts? Like, no, this isn't that. This is a public post stuff. You know what I mean? So if that's, just those 3-4 things that doom scrolling, finding stuff on the phone, those little insights help me easier make posts or identify on the way I had already made a post. It's like, oh, you do that already. Or yeah, post it. Who cares? Like let alone like one thing that is kind of like hard for me is garden content, right? Why is it hard? Because it's fucking, you record 15 minutes, 30 minutes, and the way I do it, like I airdrop it and that's annoying. Okay. Fucking, so it's just like waiting. It's not as quick as just recording it, right? And then you upload it, and then by the time it's uploaded, my ego kicks in, and it's like, I don't really want to post that. And it's like, dude, who gives a fuck? Just post it. People are gonna love it. And if they don't, they weren't meant to be. Have a good day, and do that, and just keep doing that, and don't saturate it or saturate it. Who cares? It's content. Life goes on, bro.
For sure. It's a lot of people overthink it way too much. And it is a lot more, like you said, it's a lot more than what a lot of people think, It's a lot more work. There's a lot of waiting. There's a lot of bullshit that goes into it. Just like with anything. If you really want to take it seriously, like video and content, it can go just as deep as cultivation or basketball or fucking making movies, like whatever it is, But, I've always liked your style because it's just like, you don't give a fuck. You put it all out there. And there's something to be said about like just authenticity, like keeping it real. Yeah, it's definitely needed nowadays. But I want to ask you some of these other questions. We kind of got off topic, started talking content, but that's fine. I wanted to ask you about like, I guess kind of like the entry points to like breeding and stuff. So like you've probably made, millions of seeds at this point, tons of crosses. If someone's new to growing and they want to start like breeding, getting into genetics, how does like a new grower start hunting seeds, finding keepers, making crosses the right way in your eyes?
That's a hard question. Everyone does it differently, right? Like you ask me, you ask Archive, you ask Oni, you ask Capulator, you ask Exotic Mike, you ask Wizard Trees, you ask Preferred Gardens, you ask Fire Farmer, you ask Bodie, you ask all these, you ask Doja, you ask, you ask the Jungle Boys, you see what I'm getting at, right? Like,
But in Masonic's eyes,
bro, just do it, bro. Don't let nobody tell you nothing. If you like something and you're like, this is it, and you're like, you tell me it's it, and I'm just like, and you're, fuck it, bro, it's it, fuck me, you know what I mean? But if that dissuades you, like, make seeds with it, that's your baseline, that's your Wilson. Now you want to, you think that if you do this to it, that if you give it to the Skittles, it's gonna make the Skittles better. Like, just do it, bro. There's like a boilerplate template of like what's expected in certain generational cultural, like not cultural, like regions, right? Like the USA does it like this, Mexico does it like this, Skunkman Sam does it like this, right? So how do I do it? How did I did it? Well, I kind of explained to you kind of naturally. How do I do it now when I make seeds and breed and pollen chuck and backyard boogie or fucking throw a tent up? I do it with capturing aromas that aren't emphasized or emphasized to spotlight and make a big bust of, or a small bust of, or just make an offering of. So like that's what's important to me right now, right? Like or making new material with aromas that I deem super cool, right? Like all the fire shit. Oh yeah, if we cross them up together, we might find some new material, aromatically, taste wise, right? Not and then the more you know more things, right? Like just like popping a lot of seeds and seeing a lot of offerings and you know, growing a lot of elites, hybrids of the elites, and kind of just putting like in your mental bank what aroma, let alone taste, might come from said name, you know? It's easier for you to deem what is more like unique, right? And then if you're like in the trenches and you parlay with everything that's going on, and you're not just on your own hill and your own bubble and you only know what you know, then it's easier for you to pick something objectively great, like something that like has a reoccurring pattern, right? And that's how I kind of see it. Like, yeah, it kind of goes to like how Kendrick Lamar had to drop swimming pools so that everybody could understand him, and then he could do his art, right? I unknowingly dropped swimming pools with Wilson, right? And then now I can do natural selections, freak show, you know, all this quirky landrace shit, and people will still have eyes on me and understand my growing process with me as I, you know, kind of go back to something more agreeable amongst ourselves. But it's a growing process all in all. Like when I was making seeds in 2017, 16, I had no fucking clue what I was doing. And when I'm making seeds in 2026, I think I have a clue what I'm doing. I think I do. You know what I mean? But it's a growing process, bro. It's all a growing process. Aroma, growth pattern, pest resistant, mold resistant, quick finishing. I get it. All those things matter, right? But new, capturing that new flame, creating that new flame that you know is absolutely new, or maybe it's not, but you're just reinvigorating it, bringing it back to the people, you know? And that might be in a recessive trait or something like that. You know what I mean? You might just be tapping into some primordial funk and you bringing it out amongst your massive pheno hunt, or that weird bag seed you grew, or you just made the two puzzle pieces click together that the people were missing. That's the chase that I'm after, right? But more than likely, you kind of get like nuances, back ends. You know, I'll cross the honeybee tolly to the mango, and you'll get like a fermented banana with the grapefruit. But when you kind of look at it, it's kind of just like the KC36 mango shit. But it's different, but it's not completely new. But it's new, and it's the pinnacle of our, you know, terp evolvement as a collective conscience, as all of us that I think are on the same wavelength that I'm on, which is one of the more higher ones, respectfully. You know what I mean? So that's how I see my breeding process is literally throwing everything as much as I can with my space and time that's offered to me, and picking it off the wall. And honestly, that's all I can do, right? Because once I start dictating more space, then it's not necessarily me even going through the offerings, right? Because I can barely keep up with this, right? So it's like the perfect amount of madness for one person to handle and push their vision through and through without anybody else's you know, sometimes people come through and they help me. Oh, that's good. And I'll be like, oh, let me see. Okay, I guess that's good. I'll keep it around. You know, but all in all, it's years of traveling, gathering seeds, popping seeds, getting the knowledge, firsthand VIP front row seat. It might not have been to what, you know, the billboard weed that you guys see on Instagram all the time, but it's very much a grown plant where I can identify the aromas that are in that offering, right? Whether it's like a fucking plant that grew up to my ankle or a plant that grew twice as big as me, you know? And people can't see past that they kind of just they want it all pretty, you know. But there's nothing pretty about that process, you know. It is very much, you know, micro, you know, dirty jobs, you know, and not everyone can be all up in the dirt smelling all the shit, and it's not easy to do pheno hunts like that in infrastructure where you're paying for all the shit, you know. So it's you know, how do I do it? That's kind of how I do it, bro. It's been a process of learning and applying and acknowledging who I really am and what I did along that process, right? And I'm 33, bro. I'm still young, you know. Talk to me in 10 years, you know. It's a learning process. I learned a lot to this point that now I'm very much more easier to make my dish. It's easier for me to grab ingredients and know all these ingredients and make a dish and have more perspective when I'm amongst my peers or with all this power that was bestowed upon me to be a dude that sells seeds, which I think is very, very, it's important that we uphold the ones that are very like soulful about it. And that sounds kind of woo woo, but like I see a lot of vanity, you know, a lot of champagne bottles and appropriating the things that us type of guys do.
For sure. It's a lot of hard work, you know, pheno hunting and going through all, you know, those different strains. And like you said, like you've mentioned so many different strains and like keeping them banked in the mind and like the nuance of them, like it's a lot of work, man. And, you know, I commend people like you who can like do it at a high level, and, you know, really try to like put out dope shit. And so when you're breeding, like your process is specifically, you know, you're breeding for strains that are going to be good hash strains. Is that correct? Or is there more nuance to that? Like, do you still breed for flower strains, or is that like just not even correct?
So I don't like to be boxed in, right? Yeah, I made Wilson like the same way the chocolate chip cookie was made, right? It just happened. I was just rolling with the punches. I knew papaya was fire, Trop looked sexy as fuck and was purple and smelled like tangy. That was fucking dope. Made those. Not accidentally because the fucking room pollinated, but accidentally because I was rolling with some killers. You know what I mean? I was right place, right time, doing the right shit, you know? And that turned into a hash line. I'm just rolling with dope people and doing dope shit. And now we have, oh, you're the hash guy. Well, fuck, I guess I am, you know? And then I like found the Wilson and I hit it to everything. Oh, you breed for hash. I'm crossing hazes to hash. I guess I am breeding for hash. Whatever. You know how people, they'll put a story of you in their head and whatever, dude. If that's the fucking story y'all want to roll with. People told everybody this. I never had to say I breed for hash once on my come up. They just said I bred for hash. I guess I do, right? And that goes back to the story I just told you, that I'm doing shit and identifying it as I'm going, right? Like, I'm just doing shit, bro. I literally just grow tons of pot, right? The best that I can. I'm a grower, right? And so I'm breeding for hash now. Oh, he's breeding for hash. Oh, you breed for hash, right? I guess I do. And then I look back and I'm like, dude, that don't make sense because I breed for everything amongst that F1 population, right? Like, that's for everything, because if you pop any set of those seeds, you can find anything from anything that was used in that line. There's no consistent F3, F4 population going on where you won't find anything besides just hash. These are just hybrids, bro. So we're breeding for everything off the jump. We got Northern Lights Willie Nelson. We got 88G13 hash plant. We got Papaya God. We got, you know, everything and anything in between. We got Skittles in 2018. Already did Skittles, you know. We did Sunset Sherbet. Like we did Do-Si-Do. So those are what? We did Gelato 33. Like those aren't hash strains, but you can find hash. Yeah, I guess they are. They're both strains. We breed for everything, right? I'm just breeding. The thing with the breeders and our come up and everything we do is everyone is, well, what was your intention? Why'd you do it? What? Hey man, why'd you cross those two? What was the meaning behind it? No one even knows back then, really, like amongst the people that I kind of involved myself with and just kind of putting two and two together. We're just doing shit, bro. We're just doing shit. And that's what I was doing. I was like, hey, which strains should I grab to do this pollination with? Just grab them all. Just do it. It's a numbers game. Grab them all. Throw it all. I get the fact that legality, time, space, wanting it to be perfect will hinder that process of just you not wanting to do more. But I was always capable of doing more because I have the backbone for it. I'm a strong guy. I'm not like I'm a 200-pound, 6-foot Mexican who can move fucking mountains. You know what I mean? So forgive me if I'm not like Seymour in the basement who can only grow so many plants at a time, right? So that, and then I have the brain too. So that was like that moment in time captured. So all that to say is I breed for discovery for myself. I happen to make a bunch of shit and it all falls in its certain box of what it is. And as I go on, I still breed for discovery with the natural selection population that I did, where I'm literally just growing with my demographic and showing my vision. That's what are you breeding for, dude? I'm just making shit like OZK, Honeybee, Thai, ChemD, Purple Unicorn Wookie, Cap Junkie. All that was during that population, and whatever those seeds make was and is good and or great, right? The only way you won't like it is it'd be like a subjective type of thing, or maybe you are only used to growing F3s or F4s, which I don't think is the case, right? Usually, if you grow one of my really open population type varieties, it's probably just an F2, or it probably just got hit to one thing, which is the only thing possible, just like anything else, right? And unless you're growing strains with you knowing what you're getting into, which also probably isn't the case, then what's the joke here, right? So I just knew what I knew, and so like, what are these guys talking about? I'm moving a little bit faster. So I did all my breeding and seed making like as like a naturally, organically. I want to learn. We're going to cross everything. Yeah, amongst those populations, there's stuff that is more agreed upon and known, right? And that will get more spotlighted, and that'll carry us on through the days, right? Like a toad venom cross right now. That's going to be more, that all eyes on that one as opposed to anything else, right? Or like the stuff that I'm trying to campaign to. But like, we're just making shit. And now that we made enough shit and we've seen all the shit that we made and we still don't know enough shit, like every day there's new shit that comes. It's just easier for me to make stuff that I like more as opposed to stuff that just exists, right? And I ran my seed making company process kind of like a record company. Like, no. Like Amoeba Music, right? Like a record shop. Where, yeah, this is the hot shit. It's right here. It's right behind me. We got all the hit records. We got Toad Venom, Skittles, fucking Fire Farmer hybrids, Archive hybrids. This is what would be hot and like the people are undeniably gonna want type shit. But like, this is my in-house strain. Yeah, some of these types of strains were used to make them. This is my shit. Don't get me wrong, this is my shit too. But check it out. Over there, there's like Mozart. We still got that. We got Land Races. We got Tom Hill Hayes. We got Land Race Mafia Afghans. We got Todd McCormick AG Seed Co. We got Bodie. We got Cap. We don't just... And that's where I kind of hinder my process, not hinder, but like people's bandwidth isn't that big. They're like, what are you talking about? You're crazy. And it's like, no, you just don't know enough.
Dude, there's a lot to know. There's a lot of history behind it. I mean, if you don't have access, you know, you're never gonna like really understand that stuff.
And everyone does have access, brother. That's the thing. They just choose. This is gonna sound so fucked up. Motherfuckers don't read, bro. What the fuck you expect? You got books behind you. You got books behind you. And don't get me wrong, there's people that don't read and they're very smart and they're grower and they're passionate. But a lot of these motherfuckers don't read, bro. And all that to say is that, you know, like, what do you expect, bro? Like, you think they're going to keep up with all these names I just said? They don't give a fuck, bro. They're going to go do some other mindless shit directly after that, you know? Whatever, dude.
So basically, like, you're not a hash breeder. Like, that's just kind of a label that people have put on you. Because I've always heard
I'm a hash breeder, but that's not all I am, brother. I'm a hash breeder. Yeah. If you grow for hash, my strains of hash have won first place Ego Clash, first place Legends of Hash, my Ruby Weapon, the Rubies, the Wilson, the Banana God. Those are all hash strains. And I'm really good at it. I'm one of the best. But I do everything else, brother.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a hash strain maker, but bro, if you need flower strains too, I got Sour Dub, I got Sunset Sherb, I got every cookies variety, all hybridized into whatever Mel line I'm working with, right? So whether it be Trop recently, whether it be Mango Starburst, whether it be Wilson, that doesn't mean they're not good for either or. There's crossover potential there. So I'm for flower too.
Yeah.
You know?
You do it all. What are some of the are you working on any collabs? Because I saw you went to like Bones Grow, and then maybe some other things on X. Like, are there any collabs you're working on? And what do those look like? Are they big pheno hunts you're doing with them, or are you giving them varieties?
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to work with infrastructure here in the States, you know, like close to home as much as possible. That way it's more hands-on, more vibey, more like in person, more serious, as opposed to, you know, someone not in the States that could kind of just like, you know, it doesn't feel as close to home. You won't bump into them ever type of vibe, you know? But yeah, I it's funny. Walt just sent me a message from Walt Nursery, but we're working on it, brother. We're literally working on it. I'm when I approach a situation, like whether it's a podcast with you or going into a meeting, I always go with the energy, whereas it used to be kind of like a protective energy at first, and then kind of like going into a situation with no, like just a random energy, because I don't know what the fuck I'm getting into, which is kind of protective too, right? Now that I've been in enough type of situations, whether it was a collaborative effort, so on and so forth, and I'm more adamant about what I have to offer, right? And I'm more like, whereas I used to have kind of imposter syndrome, I'm learning, why would I want to impose my vision and offerings onto, you know, fucking Thousand Lighter? I know better. I have enough shame. Whereas somebody else would be like, jump, and then that'll work for them, and I'll be over here fucking disgruntled, like, like, not disgruntled, but like, how? It's like, oh, because you have more shame, but that's why they're pushing 3 fucking strains that already exist under different names. You know, it's just like, whatever. I guess that's the game. But all that to say is, bro, I'm trying, bro. I'm reaching out, and I have the energy of, okay, I'm gonna go meet these guys, whoever it is. This is gonna work. I'm gonna go in there, and this is gonna work, and I'm gonna give it my best energy. And as opposed to any other type of energy, and we're gonna make it work. So, you know, I'm trying that with like with Zebra, with Elusive. They came to the house. Zebra, I went to their facility. Who the fuck else? Be Easy, I gave them a clone for one of their pollinations, and these are like the most in. These are new. How can I say this? These are like new brands, to say the least.
Yeah.
And I'm old. So I'm just glad that new brands still believe and fuck with the vision of Unk Mace to even want to parlay and get down with me, bro. So like yeah, bro, I'm really trying. Whereas back then people like this came my way and I was so on top of the world that I just wasn't ready for collaborative efforts, you know what I mean? Now I'm a little bit more grown up, you know, and it's like, okay, this is what I have to offer. This is what is expected. Whereas I probably didn't have the words for that back then. Now I do know exactly what I have to offer and what weight I'm going to carry and what I can help with and how they can help me and how we can help each other. Whereas back then, it's like, how are you going to help me? I'm on top of the world. And they're just like, you're a kid. Have a good day, you know? Or whatever, you know, or however they thought of me. But I'm really, really trying to put my best foot forward to growing this company, because it's easy for me to just do this and, hey, you know, I'm trying to do more cohesive. I'm trying to have my genetics, my genetics, fucking all the genetics that I've mustered up, some that I've made with other people's stuff, to, you know, just like move the needle for the plant and make the big choices of what's on the grand radio wave of what people are consuming, because that's what's happening right now. There's so many people that are moving the needle on what everyone is gonna play the telephone game with eventually. So I'm putting it in the right people's hands so that they could help me grow it on a consumable level to help display all the stuff I do on a breeding level. I'm just, you know, I embrace the role. I don't own 1,000 lighter. I'm not going to grift my way into pretending I work with a grow to pretend that I grow it so it's easier for the person to make their purchase. That's not who I am. So, but if that does happen one day and even then it'd be like a delegated task, I embrace my role that I've worked on so far, and I'm trying to work with other roles to make it pop, make it happen, you know? And yeah, it's happening. It's happening.
I'm excited to see it, man, because there's been like a new wave come over in the industry. Like the Proper Smoke League is kind of putting all these brands on. You've mentioned like Be Easy, you know, and it's kind of seems like a new culture. I mean, it's not a new culture, but like it's changed a lot. And there's definitely hype brands, you know. I'm excited to see, you know, some new crosses with Be Easy, and I think Surefire, he works with them a lot. But what do you think about all that? Because that's kind of like a new competition in the space. You know, the competition landscape is a little, maybe not weird right now, because is Ego Clash even like happening right now in the States?
I mean, I've seen a lot of brands develop, bro. I've been going to Ego Clash and since 2018 or some shit, and I've seen a lot of stuff happen. And keep in mind, there's people that have seen a lot of stuff happen as well, even before me.
Yeah.
But I've always been like, okay, so I've seen a lot of stuff happen. Ego Clash 2018. We're in 2026 now, bro. What the fuck, you know?
Crazy. Proper
Smoke Network, Doja. All these, I seen Doja kind of brand develop, you know, and you know, I've seen it, you know, from the start to where it's at now. I didn't know him. I don't know Doja, but I've seen it on my algorithm from like, I remember seeing a Doja banner in Ego Clash. Like, who the fuck's that? You know, like not who the fuck's that, but like how the fuck that happened, you know, like that was kind of like, or like, keep in mind, Ego Clash was like the culture, you can't come in, only invited, and then we have sponsors, and then you got Doja's banner, and then I think you seen like Freezer Room on a cart driving around and whatever. That was kind of like the, oh, shit's changing type of vibe. But shit had already been changing. But that was it's changing for my culture. That was the most in your face. Like, this was the culture right here. You know, there's the forms and but no, this was it right here. This was it. The Ego Clash was the pinnacle of competition for hash and flower, right? Like, it is what it is. As rough on the edges, in the middle of fucking nowhere, on a farm, not trade show type. That, I hate to say it, that was it. And anyone that has anything else to say, let me know what fucking other competition it was. Please, I can't wait to fucking hear. You know what I mean? So,
yeah.
And I involved myself in that sphere, you know, like being friends with Brandon, being friends with all the hash makers. And this is literally, everyone's there. Bobby Trill and his factions, and, the bigger names are there. That, Alien Labs is walking around through there. Burner's there walking around. People are there, dude. It's big. It's a big thing. It's the culture. It's the soul. It's where people go compete. The best competitors that go compete, flower, hash, and they choose a winner, and life goes on, right? And that was and it wasn't as industrialized, it wasn't as corporate as like a show like an industry show is. And I don't mean this in any type of negative light, everybody has their tribe, right? And sometimes they merge, and it is what it is. Get your bread, feed your family. And then I'm watching everything change. Then no more Ego Clash. And I think in part of Ego Clash's void, it got filled by the main faction. I want to say the Hidden Valley people kind of took over that. And I forget what the Culture Cup is what they called it. So this is still like happening. There's still high grade competition happening in the scene. Don't think Ego Clash is gone. There's somebody that took up on that panel, on that flame, and they're kind of keeping those race car drivers in the race. It isn't just, where do we go, guys? Nah, Culture Cup's kind of taking over that, and other factions have came around that have let those high grade competitors keep pushing their craft through competitions, right? As opposed to it's gone. No, there's other stuff. During that process on YouTube, first smoke of the day, and then proper doinks shortly after, and then like good pizza now, right? And keep in mind the weed space is way bigger than just us, but I think we're the ones that matter the most. Like, everyone else is kind of just like co-worker podcasts. We're main character podcasts, Like, if anyone watches anything else, like, bro, that's like how they say that's coworker music, like, that's coworker podcast type shit, like, what do you watch? What the fuck, like, that's not even the main one you should be watching. You should be watching this.
You talking shit about Growingtec, man?
I don't know who we're talking about. Nah, you're main character. You know what you're talking about, but whatever, bro. So we're still answering the question. So you guys, not you guys, but like first smoke of the day, proper doinks, they took a more well-edited approach to display our culture first before anyone. And they did it to a point where it's like sponsorships and cameras, and it's literally like produced with quality in mind before anyone. So it was a void. It's like, if you create it, they come. They created it proper doinkily, and it's happening. And you can't stop it now. It's built up so much momentum, and there's so many people that can relate to that wavelength, even though we know everything over here. We're the breeders. Who gives a fuck, bro? Who cares? Consistency, easy on the eyes, and giving it your best shot. They filled that void. So how do I feel about it? If I hate, where does that get me? Now you got 100 guys, 200 guys. Who knows? They might grow to Joe Rogan fucking type of fucking audience. Not really, but like it gets bigger, right? Or maybe really. They might end up on Joe Rogan. Who the fuck knows, bro? So all you can do is embrace the new people, because I'm in the space too, because we're, this isn't my first podcast. You know what I mean? So like, I embrace my peers because I know what it takes. Try not to be a hater. Ease up. And embrace it, and that's for everybody and anybody and whatever they do. And sometimes I might like, and not them, but like I might hate, and it's like don't even look that way, whatever, But it's dope. Everybody that's doing what they do, it's and it doesn't mean I have to agree what they say, bro. It doesn't mean like, oh, you're right, they're right. No, it literally means they do a good job at what they do. And if like my answer is like, if you don't like it, do your own type shit, and if you could do your own, if you feel your approach is more better and they're false and you're right, then start your own spill off of their success and start your own, like there's podcasts that cover podcasts in the space, like, so you could get rich off of just covering clips from them, you know what I mean? So not get rich, but like get a name for yourself. But all in all, dude, I embrace it. I'm into it. If you do content that I could go on YouTube and watch and I can relate to, we need more of that, because I'll find myself going on YouTube and there's nobody live. If you could just skim through channels, like if you turn on the fucking television and there was constantly somebody on the block, our lives would be more fulfilling. We'd have more weed shit in our face, But no, like there's literally so much dead air on YouTube live shit for cannabis. Like that you can't just like there's me, there's the Proper Doinks guys, there's First Smoke and the Good Pizza. They're only on Mondays. And if you follow like Dope as Yola, I don't know his schedule. Eric Kahn, like. We have a weed channel, y'all. Turn it on, man. I'm trying to watch some weed channels. That's my thought process as a consumer behind it.
Yeah. It's kind of interesting. Like they've kind of become the premier like competition that everyone wants to win. Whereas that was kind of like you said, that was ego clash. It was like these other competitions, and it's definitely changed the culture a lot. It seemed like, at least, everyone's kind of like more focused on smokeability, which is a good thing, I think, like especially for the craft farmers out there, or craft growers who are, really trying to put that out into the world. It's going to help consumers kind of find them, hopefully. Let me ask you some questions about like the K&F stuff. So you kind of mentioned it earlier, is like your K&F approach kind of mainly so you can like, do more with less, like you don't have to be purchasing like synthetic nutrients and all this stuff every month. And, what's your philosophy behind that?
Yeah. So K&F, when I started K&F, it happened out of like a lack of funds to feed the plants, to be a better gardener, so I was always finding ways to like save bread, I guess, and like making your own nutrients, natural. I went from like organic to natural, and it all happened naturally. Like this God bestowed this tool upon me early on in my process so that I could be as good as I am today. I learned all the Korean natural farming stuff. I read the book. I did it way before there was like 100 million YouTube videos on it. I did it before. I swear to God, like there's like a YouTube gardening, influencer money thing. And like I did it way before that. You know what I mean? And you'll see like, oh, today I'm gonna teach you about Korean natural farming. It'll be like 1 million views, and like I'll be like, damn, and that shit's monetized, big dog. Stop playing, So I'm just like, fuck, bro. Back to the content shit, whatever. But yeah, dude, K&F, I did it out of necessity. I practiced it. I went balls deep. I made like every concoction that you could make early on in my tenure. Indigenous microorganism, labs, fermented plant juices, fermented fruits, everything I could make. Gave it to my plants. They loved it. It worked. Used it a couple times. Met people, learned more about it. And then slowly as I started to like make more seeds and stop growing for like consumables, I kind of just was like even more so less is more. So like my grow method now is like, dude, I got gallons on gallons of accumulated dirt. I like to get nice, like my favorite dirt to get is like King's Mix if I'm being convenient. If not, like I'll hit up Vital and they'll send me like a pallet, right? And that's like heady dirt. But just years of accumulating and just mincing and mixing all these top dresses from BioLive, manure from Malibu's mix, and just having so much dirt, like that's my get down, dude. I'll just go get some used dirt, put it in a pot, throw some gypsum, throw some BioLive, and from just accumulating nutrients like organic stuff, I'll put it in a barrel, I'll feed it sometimes, but there's no like, it's just the way I see it. Like if I'm mincing and mixing salts and shit, they're gonna grow big and stuff, but their fall off of me not feeding them is so much more steep, as opposed to like building it organically, and it might start slow, but eventually it start to blow out uncontrollably. It's and that's it. It's just organic. I'm not, and the fall off, there is no fall off. It just stays there, and it just stays there. And if I stop feeding it, it'll yellow out a little bit, but it won't fucking do this on me. It'll just yellow out, and then I'll just feed it again. I'll top dress it again, and it's just like this mental graph of their growth patterns on the ways I grow them. And all that to say is an organic, natural approach has more of a solid foundation the way I grow, as opposed to me just starting to feed these plants salts and shit, right? That's just my approach. But yeah, I was taught by Chris Trump. I went to the natural farming class, learned his hands-on approach on how to apply these methods into my garden. But dude, less is more for me, brother. Less is more for me. If I grow outside and I'm gonna make hash to smoke, just grow it to the best of your ability, bro, and grow it with convenience in mind. Striving for perfection is gonna leave you stuck in one place, right? So like if you're trying to grow it perfect and you need underlighting because everybody's got underlighting and he's got that nutrient and you're missing that one thing, you're never going to even start, brother. So I've always had that approach and with everything I do. So like if I don't have the perfect Vital blend mix, to do the up potting, I don't care, dude. Fucking fill in some used dirt, throw in some BioLive. There's 100 other things happening at once, so it won't matter. But all that to say, it's, Batman has all those tools. He never uses them. He might use one.
Just in case.
He might use it one day, But it's good to know all those things because it makes me a better grower and gardener, because it's kind of like reverse engineering. Like, oh, okay, you got it all there now. Okay, now I'm just going to use what I need to use. I know what's going to make it better, the nuances, the little percentages of, the love you give the plant, the mince and the mixing, the teas, oh shit, I got every ferment, OHN, labs, liquid IMOs. I'm doing the most. For what? For what? For what? I'm just making seeds. I'm just making seeds, dog. Like, yeah, it's organic and it's vibrant, but I'm just making seeds, bro. Like we're just trying to get everyone from this island to that island on the least amount of resources as possible. And that's what sustainability is, right? That's sustainable. That's sustainable. Everything else is a show, I want to say.
That's dope. That's dope to hear, because it makes a lot of sense. Like you're just trying to like keep these plants alive, essentially. Like you're not trying to, that makes perfect sense. And then so you don't necessarily think that like KNF produces a better product? Like, as an organic farmer, do you think that organic is better than like synganic or synthetic? Because there's all these brands like Wizard Trees, Preferred Gardens, all these big brands who are putting out good product. They're all using synthetic nutrients. So, like, do you think, an organic product is going to be better?
I can tell you from like offerings that I've had and what they are, right? So like a Wizard Trees is an objective 7.5 out of 10, right? Depending on setting, it might be an 8 out of 10, right? And this is just from a very picky connoisseur smoker. I smoke high quality resin. I don't smoke, the stuff at the rec store that everybody has. I hate to be so nasty about it, but I involve myself in circles that are very serious and passionate about the resin, right? And objective quality, 7.5, 8, which is great for a recreational product, right? 7.5 is a fucking B minus. Some of you guys might not like it. It is what it is, right? But same thing with Preferred. I've smoked plenty of Preferred. I've smoked plenty of Wizard Trees. I'm not speaking from anecdotals. Fuck no. I'm speaking from I went to the shop and bought a bunch of their fucking weed. I spent at least $1,000 on either guy's weed and probably got gifted some too. And same thing with Preferred. It's like a 7.5 out of 10. It's good. It's mad decent. It's not great. Neither of them are great, right? That'd be a light. They're good, decent. It's good. The consumers are in good hands with those. They're not going to go to the shop and maybe not get something that's not good. No, it's going to be good. Is it great? No. Fucking Superman's great, right? Fucking Tony the Tiger is great. Whatever. I've had organic bud from organic batches of, we'll say like a third hour organics, right? At a certain time. This is just then. Maybe now it don't taste as good as then. And that shit tastes like a fucking 9. And it's like the WB frog. Oh, you go back again? Where the fuck? Where's that 9 again? And that was organic, right? And that's my experience, bro. That's my experience. You never do you really taste 9s, salt or organic. But I have tried a 9 organic, right? Once, maybe twice. But I'm a hash head, right? I'm a hash head. There's more good salt-grown weed than there is organic living soil. Most living soil organic weed tastes like dog shit, right? But a lot of salt does too. But more than likely, the organic living soil guys have a harder time trying to pull it off, right? In my experience, there's a more common denominator of finding a better HGV grown plant, right? And it tasting feasible. It's good. It's good. It's 7.5, bro. That's good, bro. That's good. We're blessed. We live in, but I've had great organically grown bud, right? Which is not, I can't really say the case for salt. I'm trying to think of like that frog poison I had from Dank Mob. I don't know how it was grown. Soil grown or living soil grown or salt, right? I don't know how it was grown. That was like a 8. It wasn't a 9 though. It wasn't a 10 though. It was like a 8, which is fucking fire. That was like my favorite. I went to the Proper Doinks shit and I grabbed one of everybody's weed. I grabbed a jar from Green Dog. I grabbed a jar from Burning Rope. I grabbed a jar from Ball Family Farms. I grabbed a jar from even Raw. Gave me some of the Zicky Guy Garden stuff. I grabbed a jar from
Family Farms.
Yeah, I grabbed a jar from everybody. And the best weed there was this Dank Mob frog poison shit. And right here it says it don't say if it's soil grown or anything grown, but I speak from firsthand experience, brother, and all the weed that I smoke, and I work with some of these companies. It's okay, bro. It's okay. It's like a 7.5, and that's fine. It's clean. It's 7.5. I'm a spoiled smoker, dude. I smoke the final form of the plant. I smoke hash. you know, and
Yeah.
and I find back to this kind of correlates to that conversation on salt and indoor. I find myself like, I'll give you an example. I'll give you a good example right now. So there's a jar in my hand. I got a couple jars in my hand, right? I got a couple jars in my hand. So this is a $200 jar, each one. There's 2 grams in each one. I don't know if this is indoor or outdoor. I don't know. We'll just leave it at that. It's good. It's like a 7.5.
Trichedelics.
Yeah, it's like a 7.5. This subjective quality when I taste it, down to the subjective, like, oh, what strain is this? Damn, this is unique. It's like a 7.5. I've had better jars for less money. This is outdoor, BJ Farms, right? And this is all outdoor, BJ Farms. Outdoor, organic, more than likely. Organically grown. Kenjana, outdoor organic. And then you got Burning Rope Farms. Indoor, salt grown. More than likely, almost all the time, for me, somebody that cares enough, like these guys, their resin is better than anything indoor, from the Damn It Bobbies to the fucking yada 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 yadas. Like, I'm just thinking of like a quality indoor heady jar. The I don't know if this is indoor or outdoor, so I can't say it. That's why I'm guessing this is indoor. Cost $100. I'd rather smoke this, and it tastes way better, you know. And even and we're comparing OZK to honey banana papaya, right? But if this guy did an OZK and had the same strain, it'd be better. And keep in mind, sun grown, organic. Nice infrastructure, the nice lights, under canopy, HGV, sponsored, you know? The more you know, brother. But don't get me wrong, I've had killer indoor jars too. But I think West Coast Alchemy even made a post like, oh, the best jar I've had is full melt, outdoor, organic, sun grown. And if I'm gonna take anybody's, like, that guy's seen a lot of hash, you know? And I've smoked tons of really, really, really good outdoor hash rosin jars. Hash outdoor flower consumables, more than likely dog shit.
So you are outdoor, like you prefer the outdoor organic. I mean, a lot of people say that outdoor.
I don't prefer
hash, especially.
It just happens to be better most of the time.
Yeah, yeah. At the highest level, you're saying that is the best.
I mean, if we were taking score.
That's cool. Because I've heard other people say that. I wanted to ask your opinion. You know, obviously, I
would ask who the fuck said that, and I'd be like, he don't smoke. Or, okay, he smokes. I'm listening. But, like, a lot of these guys ain't smoking, dog. Like, they're in their own little spear. They smell their own farts, their own bubbles. I didn't see them at the Ego Clash Cave. You know what I mean?
So one of the things I wanted to talk to you about is, like, from your perspective, I wanted to talk a little bit about, like, strain history. And, like, you grew up in Southern California, and I don't know exactly like what year you started smoking and stuff, but by the time you started smoking, I know like OG had to have been, you know, the dominant strain that it was. So like from your perspective, when you were like starting Masonic Seed Co., were you kind of like going against the grain with these strains like Wilson and like all these other strains, especially being in like SoCal where like OG was like so dominant, everyone loved it. Was there like a lot of like backlash, or were you going against the grain? Talk to me about that.
I mean, I was going against the grain, just the simple fact that I was making seeds as the person that I was, dude. Like 20 something years old, Mexican, Compton. That is literally not the person that is breeding seeds, and I was vocal about it. I was going against the grain 100%. I didn't even know what the fuck was hot. I could care less what was hot. I just know that this guy gave me seeds, and I'm about to run this shit up. I'm Team Oni at the time, you know? And I didn't know Symbiotic. I didn't know Archive. You know, I didn't know nobody. I couldn't vibe. You know, I'm oblivious to the game. So what, you know, what am I going to know, bro? So I was going against the grain through and through. There was no grain to go against because I was just on my own path, you know? So everyone's like, people around me who kind of had insight and, you know, had like, oh, that's how it's supposed to be done type of thing ingrained in them already, indoctrinated them already. I didn't have that in me. So like, I didn't have the old form heads, nobody to appease to as I'm doing my shit. I didn't have, oh, I got to be careful with that guy, or like, oh, let me do it like this because of that guy. That shit did not exist in my head. Everything natural. OGs are fire. And at the time, shatter was probably the best thing smoking on the street. And people were probably still going to the dispensaries and buying either cookies, GG4, or OG. Like that was the papaya was slowly becoming a thing. Tropicana, but this wasn't like a dispenser, you know, like you go in the dispo now, like it's the thing now, right? Like 710 Labs, papaya, you know, like it's so common. It's like a household strain name now, right? Right then and there, papaya and trop were not that, and absolutely not. And I didn't know nothing except I just want to grow pot. I used to have this thing that I thought, oh man, no matter what the flavor, the pheno, whatever random thing I'm growing in my backyard from these random fucking bag seeds, if my homie grew it indoor, it'd be better. Like, just because of the quality, right? Like, oh, it just gets you higher. You'd be able to vibe with it more. Like, you'd be able to taste it for what it is. So I never was like, let me use these tools to make a name for myself. It was never that. It was always like, I just want to grow weed. Period. And even when I went to the dispo, yeah, OG was my favorite, and we always smoked OG, and you had to make sure you grab some. But we always wanted to try new stuff, so you always buy new stuff.
Gotcha. Because, dude, I've been to LA and like talked to some, you know, of these guys, and like even still to this day, for some people, it's like they only want to smoke OG, and it's like I feel like when you were probably like coming up, I don't know, there was probably like a lot of hate on like the Z terps and like papaya and, you know.
Yeah, there
like
was.
Fruit and candies.
People used to clown on the papaya, say it was green crack. The trop is tangy. Who cares? Like, you know, even to this day, like people try to clown and shit. And me now, with everything I know, I just know they don't know nothing. Like, oh, you're just like, I hate to say it, but like, you probably smoke mids. Like, I hate to be the guy. Like if you smoke fire quality, you can find and embrace every strain from Blue Dream to Jack to OG to a Landrace. Like, you just kind of accept them for who they are. Yeah, you kind of know like where they land and like, you're full of shit. But like to say like papaya's mids, like, bro, fuck, dude. Some people don't like hip hop. And it's very few, I think.
Yeah. What and so from your perspective, like OG was kind of probably already popping by the time you started smoking, at least I think, you know, like I think it started popping like the 90s, early 2000s, and kind of that wave lasted for like decades. But like I feel like from the time you started smoking, you saw the come up of like Skittles, like Z. You probably saw even like Girl Scout cookies. So like, talk about like those stories, you know?
Yeah.
When did you start to know that like those strains were dope and like
through being a medical patient, bro? Like, you go to the shop and they would just have it there, brother. Like, cookies, just naturally, like no one was like, oh, cookies, like kind of like, oh, the Runt song, like none of that shit, dude. I just remember always smoking OG. Every now and then you get a cookies eighth, but mostly we smoke OG. Sometimes you get GG4, but mostly we smoke OG. And the Bay Area guys were just making a lot of noise, I guess. For me, like I had a homie named PK Trap Bacon Paris, who's his homie his close homie that he came up with, he found the pheno of Blue Sherbert, and and you know, like he just kind of, they were in those circles of people that went out and bought the first cookie smoke to smoke, and just they were part of that aura. And he kind of brought that vibe down to me. And, you know, I got to smoke a little bit more cookies. But here in LA, dude, like, we were all OG, that cookies shit. It was here. But, like OG and then cookies was here. I forget if GG4 was after cookies or before or right during. You know, it was all at the same time. Shatter was there. It was it's just like, you know, just growing. And I know from a first-hand level, I don't know nobody, bro. I just went to the dispo and smoked weed and grew it in my backyard, bro. Like fucking, that was my development of watching those strains from a South Central LA kid that don't know nobody, bro. We just go to the dispo. Jungle Boys had like orange cookies, right? But that has nothing to do with this. But like, these are the people making the noise around us, you know? I remember going to like High Times, right? And my homies were happy because Burner was there. And I didn't know really I didn't get it yet, brother. I didn't get it yet. I didn't get it. And then they're like, oh, let's go meet Burner. He's over here. And it's okay, fucking Burner. Firsthand, watched it happen. The Skittles shit. The Skittles shit was like an Instagram aura that didn't reach down here, brother. We were still on the tip that I was telling you. We're smoking OG, smoking Shatter, doing LA medical shit, you know? Like, Skittles hadn't hit over here yet. I didn't find out I like Skittles till like 2021 or 2020 or some shit, like hanging out in Terps Harmony Lorenzo. I've been breeding with this since 18. But like, a lot of that stuff was very disconnected, dude. Like, it wasn't here as a LA consumer. The internet was very small, like where we were doing all these things, like, oh, Skittles, Brandon, with the car and Terp Hogs, and like, there's only so many people that went to these events. It hadn't broken that barrier yet, bro. Like, like, it was more so like, let's go find what these things are, you know? Like, oh, let me see what this Gelato's about. Let me get a Gelato clone from PCG 2018. Oh, somebody brings Gelato around you, you would have to be part of the dudes that were on that craze that oh, cookies made a drop. Okay, we're in line. I was so broke and just like involved with life that it was like a Supreme type of thing. Right? I was never that guy chasing any type of hype. It kind of just ended up on my lap. Like, right? Like, that's the best way to put it. Like, if I had to identify what was my come up as these strains started to develop, I don't fucking know, because I was too busy just being a regular person, growing pot, not like that fanatical or even knowing how to be that fanatical during that time in my come up.
That's interesting because, yeah, I just wanted to ask because, like, those strains are so foundational to, like, all the genetics. Like, Z is still to this day, you know, kind of running its course through, like, a lot of competitions. I know, like, in the hash bracket in the Proper Smoke League, Symbiotic just created, like, a Champaya Z or Champayas, and it's super dope. He gave me a dab of it, and it's super fire. And, like, there's just a lot of, like, Z crosses, you know, and, like, you know, Gelato obviously had its wave, you know, that, and then, you know, that led into like runts, and like those strains kind of like are a big piece of like all the modern genetics that are going through. So I kind of wanted to hear like your perspective as someone who's like been really tapped into the game. But so you didn't even know you liked Z until like 2021. That's kind of surprising, but it makes sense.
Yeah, it's funny because somebody had met me in a parking lot here in Compton. They're like, hey, I got these plants for you. It's Skittles from Kevin Jodrey, Wonderland Nursery. Like, I'm on top of the world, bro. Like, thanks, you know? And then I bred with them, crossed them into Wilson, and people were buying them, and I didn't even know. We're smoking Skittles in Europe, and I'm like, yo, this is like the heat. Yeah, that's Skittles, big dog. And I was like, no way. Like, I think this is my favorite strain, you know? Like, let's go see if I got any Skittles stuff in my bank. And I did. I had a bunch of OZK packs, so I popped 6 OZK packs, and that's kind of like where a lot of my Skittles work comes from in my lineup right now. The Skittles Wilson, that stuff was so old that, you know, I would have to really look through all my seeds to maybe find a pack of them. But I know some people that grew it out, and they sent me a couple jars this year. That shit was fire. Slow Lane Solventless had a fire jar. My homie Soil to Oil TV had a fire ass jar of it. And Kush Kirk, they had a really good jar of it. That was last year, the Kush Kirk one though. But I'm talking about a strain I made 8 years ago, making its around, its full circle recently, like this year type shit. Skittles Wilson, bro, it was good. But yeah, bro, ironically, all the players of the people behind those varieties, from Sherbinsky to Jai to Tony Mendo to Fields all the way to Brandon, me being oblivious about those people on my come up, I think made it more commendable to my persona, because I'm not like regurgitating their style, to say the least, right? And I'm treating them like I treat everybody type of thing, whereas I'm not like walking on eggshells trying to appease them. I'm just being me around them the whole time, and they can respect that, right? So that led me into the same rooms as these type of people, let alone to the same tables as these type of people. Whereas anything else might have been not that. I would have been like, fucking fanatical around my whole come up, and that wouldn't have allowed me to even move left or right. You know what I mean?
For sure. You kind of were oblivious, and it allowed you to like kind of create your own lane and like not focus on what they're doing and shit. But it is a cool story. It's cool that you know Brandon too. I've always liked that guy. He followed me on IG and comments on some of my shit every once in a while, so it's kind of funny. But what are some strains and brands like in your head stash right now that you're fucking with? You kind of already answered it, I guess. You brought up some of the brands you're smoking now. But what are some brands, breeders, just people in general, hash makers that are doing some dope shit?
Breeders, easily. Masonic, and Masonic, because I breed hot fire. You're getting too close, man. Nah, but I'm kidding, man. Shout out Bloom, shout out Cap, shout out Archive, Bodie, Exotic Mike, Gene Finder, DNA, Crockett, Third Gen, fucking Family Farms, everybody that, Higher Ground, Commonwealth, Seed Co, Easy Seed, Easy Genetics, all the new guys and all the old guys and everybody who's a player of the game that I've embraced one of their genetics and brought it into my repertoire, like shout out all of them, that's who we're fucking with. Brands, shout out Feel Good. Feel Good has had my back in this game for a long time. Shout out Feel Good, Trilogy, the whole tribe over there. Really good people. That's who I'm fucking with. I'm fucking with those that fuck with me. Shout out Washed LA. Shout out Angel City Farmers. I fuck with those that fuck with me. I'm smoking Angel City. I'm dabbing some of my. This is one of my creations. It's the Papaya Mango Starburst, and it's from the homie Rosin Foods, and he's just a killer dude to know. Like, I like to smoke high quality hash rosin, but I'm very much, I'm a get it how you live guy too. So, we like to smoke the best, and we're always striving for the best, and we're trying to do everything the best as far as consumables are concerned, and even work,
For sure. Probably smoking a lot of your own product. And do you make your own hash and like do that whole thing?
Right now, so my space is better used for making seeds, brother. I'm not like, if I made the best hash, like it would hinder my creative process with that space with my two hands, because it's so much of space that it wouldn't even like hold the flame to what everyone else is making for hash offerings, and it wouldn't be sustainable to keep my boat rolling, So I leave that in the hands of hash makers and growers. Yeah, I'm a grower, but I'm a breeder. I'm a seed maker. And then, I found something special Okay, give it to the grower. And keep in mind, the grower is usually growers with infrastructure. You got 10 guys on payroll taking care of the plants. That's what a grower is, right? Or you might have your small batch homie who's doing small batch. And that only gets so much traction, right? So it's like, it's a process, bro. I don't grow consumables. I very much have. Shit, I could go get a plant right now and wash it and we could smoke it and be like, oh, look, I did this myself. But I don't get my rocks off doing that. I get my rocks off every time I shuck a variety and I get my seed, and that's when I'm the most happy being a grower. If I'm like making hash, I'm like, it's good, it's great, but fuck, man, all that space and all we got was an ounce. Like, what the fuck? I could have made 1 million seeds right there. Like, that's so stupid, you know? Now I just, the goalie's the goalie, the kicker's the kicker. You're like, oh, damn, this one's fire. Go give it to the homie who grows, and we're going to get it washed. That's what I do now. And that's my way of getting my genetics, creations, selections, whatever, into a jar of hash.
No, but that's some game kind of too, because like, bro, you can really only be like great at like one thing, or so many things. Like, maybe not one thing, but like everyone's kind of got their own lane, and like it's kind of best if you just stay in it and like try to go as far down that lane as you can. And hash making's one thing, breeding's one thing, growing's one thing. It's all different.
You got to keep in mind perception too, brother. I can pretend I do all these things with the power of the fucking internet, bro. I can pretend I grew it. I can pretend I washed it. I can pretend everything, and I don't have to tell you nothing. And you guys just eat it all the way the fucking up. I don't take that approach. I'm very transparent. I'm very, kind of just tell you how it is. Meanwhile, you guys are, not you guys, but like just generally speaking, like perception is a big, big thing. You got dudes that all they do is help sell the pot. That's it. They're just a face. They're a puppet. And keep in mind, I'm just assuming. I'm being an ass. All they are is the face, and you think in your head they grew it. You think in your head they bred it. You think in your head they're there and they live at the fucking farm. I was hanging out at Glen Green Dragons, and we were hanging out. It was me, Green Dragon, Glenn, and Jai, and a couple other people. Jigga, the fucking creator of cookies, creator of cookies.
Yep.
We're hanging out, and there's another guy there, and he works like with Netflix. He like does like cannabis. He's like somebody important at Netflix, or at least he has his part, he has his role. And I'm telling him how we're sitting next to Jigga and how he's important, right? And how Jigga is actually like probably the one of the last roads you'll end up on if you do your rabbit hole detective work on the lineage of cookies, right? Like, that's where the last very road will kind of lead to, and then everybody else can kind of speculate and have their tin hat on after that, right? So that guy's there, and he's like, I thought Burner created cookies. And I'm like, wait, you think Burner took care of a physical plant? And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, yeah. You see? That's what I'm talking about. That's for everybody in the game, right? Perception and assumptions, right? Like, I could show you a picture of this, and you'll just be like, he grew it. It's a weird world, brother.
Dude, that is wild though. But like, bro, that's how the average consumers really fucking think about this shit. I hope you don't think I'm that dumb to think that like fucking
back to motherfuckers don't even read. What do you expect from people?
It is insane. The consumers, like, I know I followed you on TikTok, and bro, the consumers on TikTok are a whole different animal, man. Like, they don't know fucking anything about weed, and it's bad because like these are the people who are buying the product, and they're buying from like True Leaf and Curaleaf and all these like really big fucking companies, and it's just kind of fucked up.
It is what it is. I'm not even mad. It's not even fucked up. Dude, wine, Bud Light, Natty Lights, trailer parks, mansions, Louis Vuitton, Walmart, Shasta soda, Coca-Cola, like mids, make the world go around, bro. Like, what are we talking about here, bro? But there is some opinions matter more than others, bro. You know, and some people do have their eye on the ball more than others, but it doesn't matter because my voice isn't for everybody. Like, my demographic isn't going to be everybody else's demographic. You got these well-put producers with infrastructure like Interscope breeders, Interscope growers, and then you got me, independent. I'm dropping bars in the fucking bathroom. You know what I mean? So this is where we're at in this day and age with the cannabis plant. You know?
That kind of leads me into something I wanted to ask you. So, because like someone like me, like what I'm doing here, like with my channel and shit, is what I set out to do was like, okay, I want to try to like help educate consumers. You know, I want to try to find like these people who know nothing about weed and try to like show them like people like you and why, you know, you matter in the scene and like why the product that you would create, it would be better than this and all this stuff. But I'm wondering like, So is it just not, is there no use to like try to reach those like super average consumers who are just smoking carts? They don't even care. Like they're just trying to get as high as affordably as possible. Are these like two different, like, you know, cause I'm speaking from like, you know, I'm someone from the community. I've always followed the community and stuff. And like, I found that creating content for the community is different than creating content for these like super average consumers, right? Like they don't really care about hearing like strain history and shit like that. And so what I'm gonna ask you is like, is there even any like use to like trying to reach those people, or like how would you think that would happen?
Well, that's your kind of mission, right? Like the community. There's different communities, brother. Like my voice, don't get me wrong. I wish everyone will hear my voice and understand and resonate with my vision. But I understand that will never, ever be the case, brother. That'll never be the case. Most times people, they're like, oh, he looks like me. I like this guy. I'm going to listen to him. Right? Like I kind of learned that from somebody. And I get that a little bit. Imagine like a clean cut guy with the Rolex, fucking Rolls Royce outside. He's got the 100 light HGV grown. He's pumping out packs. What the fuck could I tell him?
Yeah.
He's not going to listen to some hippie dude talk about strains. He's going to listen to somebody that looks like him, putting on the perception more than likely to sell him LCG Skittle variety, right? but all that to say, brother, don't stop. Try to reach whoever you're trying to reach and make your community, whether it's you're like reaching to the average Joe consumer who, you know, the 18 to 25-year-old demographic that's barely getting into weed, or the older demographic that's trying to learn more about it. Whatever the case be, like back to embracing roles. Like I embrace anything and everyone and whatever path you're trying to do. And it's going to happen, right? And there's ways to get into that. And like you said, maybe they're not into the history. Maybe there's just a way to get, you know, how do I teach these kids? Like there's got to be a way to get to them. And usually it's the most lowbrow, right in your face type of thing. You know, there's always an approach to kind of give the dog its medicine. You know, you got to put it in a weenie sometimes. But all in all, like, I like when I used to make my clothing a lot more than I used to. I'd be like, man, I want to make a shirt that transcends weed and just like kids. It's like a fad almost. Not like a fad, but like it becomes viral, you know? So I always have that in mind when I'm doing my art. Right? Whether it's a shirt or a fucking strain. But I'm very, like, accepting to the fact that my community is my community and it's not going to be for everybody, right? But, like, I do have an aim and I don't walk on eggshells for nobody else, you know what I mean? Like, but like, don't stop. Why would I say stop, brother? No, like, if your aim is reaching the kids or the average consumer, You just got to find the right way to give it to them and find that one piece of content that makes you stick to you, and you just grow your community like that. But look at fucking Proper Doinks, dude. That's basically what they did, bro. They didn't get the ego clash community and bring it to them. They grabbed Joe Schmo from the streets that watches YouTube and Instagram, and they built their own community. Same thing with more recently, like the spill off of that shit. I mean, if you stop, then everyone else writes the narrative. No one teaches the kids, and you know, for every 10 people that watch, one of them sticks around, right? So it's not a quick process. It's brick by brick, and those are honestly the only people you want supporting you. You don't want to build your foundation on stuff that you don't believe in, and you kind of did it plastic and inorganic. That shit comes and goes, bro. So as long as you know you're building your empire brick by brick, and you're reaching out, you're giving it your best approach, like, you're getting all the best ones only, brother. So don't ever think like the kids that you are teaching, the amateurs, the new guys, like and then we're growing collectively as a conscience, like all of us as weed people. Like eventually you're probably just too early to the show. You're probably 5 years too early. 5 years from now, people are going to be looking for this information and like going back to maybe some content you might have spilled. And maybe because you kept it up, they're going to be looking at you even more so, right? Like, you're filling the void, bro. Like, consistency is key. It's going to take fucking 5-10 years maybe, but it's going to happen. Yeah. And you're going to be happy about it, you know? So I do encourage it. I do encourage you keep doing what you're doing and reaching out to the average consumer and whatever you're doing. I wouldn't say no. I wouldn't say no to that.
Yeah, I appreciate the advice because, dude, you really do know a lot about content, and you do know like a lot about, you know, like marketing, and you know you're a creator at the core, and you know if you don't do it, you don't know it. You know, like you gotta actually do it to like know how to like grow on social media and shit. So I just kind of wanted to ask you and see if it's even worth it. But I wanted to ask you too about like, what do you think about all this like smokeability stuff? So, you know, it's kind of become a whole thing, right? Whereas like now it's kind of becoming like a thing, which it's always been a thing, right? Like people have always been interested in like the nuances of smoke quality and stuff like that. But now it's becoming, because of honestly the Proper Doinks, it's becoming like a box to check, you know, like now all the growers are talking about it. Like we got to make it for, you know, we got to make sure it's smoking and shit. Yeah, I just want to ask, like, hear your thoughts on it. And because like the truth is there are a lot of people too who don't even give a fuck. Like they're just trying to get high. So I want to hear your perspective on it. I know that's not you, but
I mean, it's good for them to help, like they're thinking of ways, right, for them to help show you their experience with what's happening, and they're looking for every nuance word that they could help you describe what they're doing, and that's one of them, right? And to me, as much as they might think they're helping me, I don't care, you know, like I don't think too much about it. That's their show. Like, it's just confusing more for me, you know? Like, for me, and then I don't watch the show that much either, but I look at, like, the minerality, the smokeability, the keep in mind, this is somebody that the first Olympic box, I picked it up, I smelled them all, I picked the winner, I didn't even have to smoke them. Like, I've done that too many times, you know? I'm Napoleon Dynamite, like, you know, I could just, oh, that's probably going to be it, you know? Like, I'm that guy, but of course you do have to smoke them to find the winner. And I'm very, very, very adamant about my approach when it comes to like, oh, that's the best, you know, or that's the most unique, you know, and cool that they're looking for the best way to skin the cat and correlate it to their people that are watching, and it helps the people that are competing want them to engage more with that. You know, they're really breaking it down and they're taking it serious, and these are the most serious people that you can give your offering to help display it to the world, right? There's, you know, because they use all these words and look at all these graphs, and You know, it's important. They must be, you know, they're fucking breaking it down to a science, bro. Give them your weed, you know? But to me, like, those guys can't tell me. They could help me discern, and, you know, but like, I'm not listening to anything they have to say on like what's better than the other thing, because that's my decision to make, and respectfully, you know, and I look at it and it's dope, and they're doing it, and I'm not knocking their hustle either, even with everything I've said, but it helps the average consumer have a basis. And keep in mind, I'm not doing the fucking show, right? So who the fuck cares what I think? Because I'm not the fucking one doing it. They are. That's their show. They're over there voicing what's hot and what's not me, right? So if I want to voice what's hot and what's not, I gotta go start Mace's Proper Doinks show, and but that's not my lane, right? And then they're honest, and there's so much pressure, I'd imagine, with the honesty thing, and, you know, the payola and things like that might get thrown their way. I know, like, if someone gives me something for free, if I was a guy that, like, had to give it to you like it is on a show like that, it would be hard for me to mold into it, right? Because it is very much, I'm not your friend right now type of vibe, you know? So I can just, you know, me looking at the good in everybody, I'd imagine that's what they're doing. They're doing it the right way, right? So, and amongst their palette, whether it's objective and subjectively, emotionally invested, or how exactly good it is, and all the words they use to describe those things, right? So to me, it's like, I don't give a fuck, you know, like, they can't tell me nothing, bro. That goes for everybody, almost anybody and everybody, them included. The fucking guy I'm smoking with next to me, I'm at Ego Clash, I'm at Legends of Hash, I'm in an island, I'm in Barcelona, wherever the fuck I'm at, and I'm judging. I respect my opinion the most because I have paid a lot of dues to have that palate, and I've grown a lot, and I've smoked a lot. And not that growing makes me better of a palate judge, none of that shit. I just know I know where I land, and if it's mids, it's mids. If it's fire, it's fire. You know, and like, I'm gonna do my Olympics entry judge thing, and you'll like, when you see me do it, you're gonna see like how I choose my winner, and it's not a bunch of graphs. It's my fucking tongue.
Do you got a box? Or are you going through it?
I've had it for like 3-4 days, but I haven't touched it yet, because I'm gonna do the whole box in one day, and I'm gonna choose a winner because I've done this before, right? And there's, you know how you choose a winner? You choose the best one, brother. You get the worst ones.
Crazy.
You get the worst ones, which is what, 85% of the box. Out of here. Cool. You are what you are, whatever. You're Gelato, you're LCG, you're Toad Venom, whatever. But then you got the best ones, and it's like 10, maybe 5. And then you smoke those, and you choose the best one. People want to make it, oh, we didn't have enough days. Bro, you can't even smoke with me on one day. What do you mean enough days, bro? If the average smoker that's touching the box comes and takes a normal Masonic size dab with me, they're going to be holding on to the fucking table. They're going to be out for the count, brother. You know what I mean? And that, back to like, you can't tell me nothing, bro. Like, I actually smoke. Blunts and hash.
So, like, you know, if you talk to the Proper Doinks, like, they would say, like, you have to smoke it to really know, you know? And so you don't really think that. Like, you think if you know the nose, it's just not as...
Yeah, you have to smoke it, big dog. The nose helps, but you have to smoke it, because you could smell it, you could look at it, and it could be like, holy shit, I can't wait to fucking try this. And then it just tastes like mom's fucking purse. And you're just like, it tastes like fucking, you know, the sheets you put in the dryer, the fabric softener sheets, like dryer sheets. Like, bro, So like, yeah, but I've been trying to smoke the best weed and put it on display for a while, you know, like that's always, I grew up in LA, dude, you know, we always had best weed to smoke. We always had best shatter to smoke. I didn't grow up in Oklahoma, New York, where it's a little harder to get the bud. Like, it was like, hey, let's go get the best weed whenever you want for a very long time that existed. We live in the Mecca.
Yeah.
So that gives me a good basis to tell you guys what's the best, let alone all the circles I've involved myself in to this point, right? Proper Doinks was created yesterday type shit, you know? Like, we've been doing this shit, you know? They've been here for a couple years. We've been here, but like this whole quality control, reviewer, Proper Doinks void that's been filled and people were pointing at and it's being platformed. Not that I've already been doing that, but like I've already been seeking that quality and having my little platform to talk to people about it, whether it's through genetic vision or just trying people's hash offerings and telling people it's good. But I never wanted to platform it, and I still don't. And I know very much where people's palate is because of where I seen them at and how they develop themselves. But I don't, like, that's their opinion. That's their opinion. And I have mine, and I think mine holds more weight and it's stronger everywhere I go because that's who I am, bro. I work for this shit, bro. Like, nobody's gonna tell me fucking nothing. And I'm very open-minded to people telling me something. Like, if I'm hanging out with a bunch of trap dudes who smoke weed all the time and they just know pack game better than I know pack game, so be it, bro. But if we're talking hash and genetics and even the fucking flower, dude, like, what are we talking about here? Why is someone telling me how to smoke a fucking joint, how to roll a joint? Cool, that's dope. I appreciate it. When I'm smoking them, that's dope. We got tips right here. And that's dope. Look, it's a fucking Proper Doinks tip. But I don't practice my smoking flower capabilities like that. I go crazy with the hash. You know, terp slurper, every single bell and whistle. But I swear to God, I'm watching a dude trying to roll up a fucking joint. Like, would you hurry the fuck up? Like, that's how I feel sometimes. And then you hit it, and it's like, and then it's like, oh, it's because you didn't roll it right. It's like, no fucking duh. Like, I'd rather just, dude, can we just crunch up the weed and fucking, can we smoke? Like, this whole, that's where the vanity, the luxury, the billboard shit comes in. This helped develop that. And that's fine. It's fine, but it's not me, brother. I could get a little weed in my mouth, spit it out. I'm fine. I'm fine. It doesn't. And the guy that smokes it like that, I don't think he's better than the guy that doesn't. I don't think the experience, the weed is going to taste better. None of that shit, bro. Fire in, fire out, bro. Fire in. Oh, it's because you didn't grind it enough. You didn't roll it while you were looking east. Fuck out of here, bro. Fuck out of here. Oh, you didn't hold it backwards and then flip it and burn it and the ember. Fuck. Dude, who the fuck are you talking to? Respectfully. Not me. You got the right plan, you got the wrong guy, right? But they do what they do, and there's a whole bunch of people that are more elegant than I am. I'm a fucking caveman, bro. You know, and if you clip this, make sure you add it all, you know, like, don't just make, like, oh, Mace is very, my approach, respectfully, they do a great job. They do a perfect job at what they're doing because they're the only ones doing it. They're making the job. But I am, I'm not even on that scale. Like, for anybody in the chat that watches that to be like, oh, you can't roll or the tip, dude, get me the fuck out of here as quick as possible. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I got a lot of respect for those guys and all the reviewers and everything, you know, especially me just being like a fucking videographer and shit. Like, what do I know? I have no right to like knock what they're doing and shit. But like, there is a lot of nuances to it. And, you know, we kind of all got away from, just smoking and shit, but which is fine. Like, I'm all for it. Like, I want the quality shit too. I want the best smoking shit too. But not respecting someone for like, just because you didn't like roll it right. I mean, I get it, but though it's like the highest level, they're trying to, create something, but,
and not to say that,
I've seen you kind of,
I don't think they're knocking anyone either, but like, it's become a thing. Like, not that it's become
the reviewers,
but it's like, the reviewers too. I just embrace everyone's role now. Everyone has their part in this ecosystem, and I just happen to be somebody who's been on the island and has this little section, and I'm watching people set up shop, and it's fine. It's fine because I'm not a complete hater, like, I just know what I know, and I don't need nobody to teach me how to roll a joint or nothing right now or anytime soon. But I am open-minded. Like, if I ever hang out with the proper Doinks faction or somebody spill off of their camp and they roll this immaculate joint tip and the experience is just tenfold and I'm getting way more higher and I'm just enjoying myself higher, then they'll be like, you know what? The same way I terp slurp, I went from a banger bucket to the terp slurp. I will upgrade and make that as my common ritual when I'm engaging in smoking. But that one hasn't hit, that one never. And keep in mind, tip's been around for a minute. Tips, there's always been a type of tip you could always put
sure.
right. You could put it in a crutch.
The funky feel.
You could roll it as fancy as you'd like. I just never got into it, brother. But I get it. I totally get it. Like the whole, even when hash making, rolling, all this shit, I don't get it. I grow the plant.
Respect. Now, dude, that's why I wanted to talk to you about all this, because I respect your opinion a lot, and you do have a ton of experience, and you were in the Mecca, like that does, definitely count for something. Like every time I've went to like California and like, went to Terp Mansion or Rising Source or all these different people, I'm like, damn, these guys are, really growing high quality stuff. And there's so many more of those guys that you don't even know about, and, yeah, bro. What do you think about the toad venom? Like, what do you like it? It's definitely making a lot of noise. I guess you said you like the dank mob frog poison. So what do you think about it?
I mean, let's smell a nug right here. So this is the frog poison feel good green dog offering, and I got a couple nugs in there, and it smells like LCG. Smells cheesy. It's good. LCG is good. Properly grown LCG is good. It didn't become famous for no reason. It's not fucking Jack. It's not Trainwreck. It tasted good. The people that grew it when I first tried it was the Hash Tribe people. And that offering for itself was fire. I thought it was really good. That was like a 8.5 on the verge of a 9 type of shit scale wise, like, and I don't know how that was grown. Then I tried the hash. Whoo, that shit was fire as fuck. And I thought it was really good, right? And then I tried like a couple other homies, and they're like, but that's just them, that's how they grow. Then I tried this one, and this one was good. And then this one was really good, right? I think it's really good, but here's what I also think. I think the development of all these indoor infrastructures that help these type of strains get platformed is so like bedrock fucking cavemen tapping two sticks to each other, let alone maybe the people that are helping these guys do all their development as far as genetics, maybe like, the Rick Rubin they might have at their facility, that those guys are not in touch or even know like how to put out a new type of aroma, right? So I just think that's also the case. Like in my backyard, new things that are great that could have a type of marketing, like stamp in the game, they come out my ears. But since everyone is so not pheno hunting and places that help kind of display these type of SKUs, it rarely happens, right? So there's just a lot of equations to help drop a new color into the palette that most people are familiar with. And keep in mind the bandwidth of people as well, right? Like you can't, So I just think like that's what it is. Like every single day in my garden or a pheno hunt that I'm doing from all my seeds that I pop, I find so much special stuff. But that's as far as that traction goes. It kind of just stops there because now you need to give it to the commercial people to pump out or the grower, and maybe his indie approach will give it more traction to the commercial side of the world so that the whole world can enjoy this type of variety. And I think that's what's happening with, just getting more stuff out there. So yeah, frog poison's dope. Toad venom's dope. But I think there's so much stuff that gets disregarded. Not even disregarded. It doesn't even get regarded because of the way everyone's rotation kind of goes. And everyone kind of has it already the way it's going to go. And seed hunts from the people that matter aren't really there, and that's me, bro. I hate to be the guy. Like, I see so much cool shit all the time, and that's as far as it goes. Sometimes I'll pass the ball, but like, it is what it is, bro. It is what it is. Like, there's so much cool shit out there from so many dope breeders. Sure. They say it's getting bottlenecked. They say this. Nah, people just don't know how to dig in the crates and find fire, Like, everything is out there. Like, if you don't know no breeders or what they have to offer to the world, of course there's not going to be nothing out there, Like, all people know is, like, whatever's out there on the market that's the hottest right now. Like, PCG just had the drop, right? And they're like, oh shit, Fire Farmer stuff is on here, and it's like this and that, and that's the problem. I think I love Fire Farmer, but the problem is everyone is after the same fucking thing. It's kind of stupid.
Yeah, it happens that way, man. Like, Runts was like that. I mean, all strains are like that, but like and to give some credit to the curators, like, it is kind of hard. Like, as a consumer, I do actually value other people's opinions because, going through hundreds of jars of shit to find like a lot of mid, it is, I don't have thousands of dollars to be buying, the best shit all the time. So like, there is actually kind of a role for the curators, like, finding good stuff and bringing it to the person who maybe can't fucking smoke through like 100 jars a week, But that's kind of what you do at the end of the day. Like, you're a curator and the breeder,
Yeah, dude. I mean, I'm not gonna. Don't get me wrong. There's a lot of bias in amongst everything that everyone does. Like, but like, some biases are just a little bit more people agree to it, at any given moment, and whatever. Maybe they might not, and we might get them to. But yeah, I think I'm out here, We're not pushing mids, like the genetics we push are very true. We're upholding the knowledge and the history. We're giving credit where it's due. We're not working with a company that grows, mids to sell the mids under the brand that is more grand than the actual product itself. Like we don't associate with those types of things. We don't white label. We don't, and if we do white label, right, it's very transparent. Like, oh, it's Masonic through XYZ company, blah, blah, blah. But, yeah, I think we're just, and we want to do it sustainably. We're not out here, fucking trying to not be sustainable. So that's how we do it, brother. That's how we do it.
I appreciate your time, bro. I know we've been chatting a long time. Thank you for doing this, man.
Nah, brother. I'll catch you later, big dog.
Appreciate you, bro. Peace.